you doing? I hope you're well. I'm Deanna and welcome to my channel. I am embracing the spooky season and living my vampire fashion dreams. And today I'm coming at you with a recommendation video for all things paranormal. This one's going to be a little bit different, and I saw this first at Jenn from the Book Refuge's channel and I thought it was so much fun. So this is an A to Z paranormal recommendations. Paranormal urban fantasy is one of my personal favorite subgenres. I was a Twilight girly back in the day and have fallen absolutely head over heels in love with the genre. So anything paranormal, supernatural, gothic, I am here for. I've done my best to not repeat any series. There's a few author repeats and I have read everything except for the last 3 letters. They were a little bit complicated, but those 3 are definitely on my TBR. One of them is a bit of a stretch and I'm gonna let you have a chance to guess in the comments which letter you think I am stretching to its absolute extreme. So I will try and be concise about plots and what series it's a part of if I haven't picked the first book, and tropes. Without further ado, let's dive into the A to Z challenge. I kind of want to start it like it's on Sesame Street, so I may just do that. So A is for Angel's Blood by Nalini Singh. This is the first book in her Guild Hunter series. In this we are following Elena, who is a guild hunter. They are, I guess, the task force of people who will hunt any rogue vampires. Interesting makeup of this world. Vampires have been created by angels and the angels have a ruling cadre of archangels. Elena is living her best life, working her job. She also has a special talent that she's able to sense vampires, so that makes her extra important in her line of work, and she is hired by the archangel Raphael to help hunt down a bloodthirsty vampire. Or is it? I completely love it. Nalini Singh does a fantastic paranormal romance, as you'll see from another rec coming up, and I just love the way she's created this world. B is for Bound by Forever by S. Young. This is the 3rd book in her True Immortal series, which I think is wonderful. We have vampires and werewolves and humans and something else, and the way she was able to twist what we think of as the mythology for vampires and werewolves is very interesting and makes that mysterious 3rd creature super relevant. These have been set in Europe, and in this one we are following Nim Farron, who is aware of her prophecy that she is going to be one of the 7 who have the ability to open a gate into a different land, and it would be quite dangerous for our world. It's her mission to guide her brethren to do what's right, because she has seen what will happen to humans if she doesn't protect the gate. Throughout the years, she's traveled the world with her brother Ronan, using her psychic vision to find these 7 people and to convince them to stay on the path that will keep them away from the gate. She sacrificed much, and when she loses her brother on a mission, she doesn't really know what is going to happen next. Enter Kyo, who is a werewolf. He's 150 years old. He is broody. We get to see him earlier in the piece, and he has wandered the planet as a lost soul. So he is a lone wolf. He doesn't have a pack. He's been cursed with immortality and spends his awful eternity as a mercenary for hire. He gets hired by a powerful warlock sect to help protect one of the 7, and he accepts the challenge. Not because he cares about the cause that he wants the door to open either way, but he's bored. It's money. It's a job. Yet when he runs into Nim, his whole life gets twisted upside down. We've got fated mates. We've got a grumpy werewolf and a girl who's a little bit grieving and broken, but still doing her best to try and save the world. These are absolutely fantastic. All 4 books are out now. C is for A Curse of Fate by Jane Eve. We're keeping on the werewolf track. This is the 1st book in her Shifter City Fated Mates. We are following Emmy, who is on the run. She is an Omega. This isn't an Omega like an Omegaverse sense. It's more in the werewolf sense where they use that now debunked wolf study. She is on the run. Since her mother died, she was also Omega. She had a pack of all alphas and they slowly drained her life and end up killing her. So she wants nothing to do with the werewolves or anything like that, and she is working dead-end jobs, sticking to human towns until one day a alpha wolf finds her and she is roped back to the Golden City for judgment. She is a little worried that she is going to face some extreme punishment because she's over the age where she's supposed to have submitted herself to the council, whichever city council that is, and registered and find her own pack, and things go her way. Kind of. When one of the head alphas of the council comes barging late into the meeting and recognizes that she is his fated mate. Amy wants nothing to do with the pack, but Hunter won't let her go, and so she is given to another pack to kind of mind and get assimilated into this culture. Hunter, who is the alpha wolf, and Callan, who is also a wolf in the pack. We've got Finley, who is a grouchy bear shifter, and Slade, who is a dragon shifter. They're all alphas. They're one of the most powerful packs in this country, so that terrifies Emmy, and she is trying to play nice and save up money and find an escape route out of Dodge, but feelings ensue. Warning, this book ends up on a massive cliffhanger. Lucky for you, 3 of the 4 books are out, so you can either wait for the 4th book to come out and binge them, or just poorly deal with the heartbreak, like I've been doing. D is for Deal with the Demon. We've got 2 Ds in here, by Kayla Rain and Meg Ann. This is the first book in their Make Games Pestilence, so this is the second in the Make Games universe. We are following Rosie Blackthorn, who has been married off to a very dangerous and very ruthless vampire for a arranged marriage. It's not going well, and in one of the events in the previous book, she fakes her death and is now on the run. She ends up in Alaska, where a human named Asha is a hacker who is going to hopefully help her change her identity and live off into the wild. But while there, she runs into 2 wolf twins, the Mercer brothers, Remy and Ben, who run a bar. So while she's waiting for Asha to do his thing, she ends up working at the bar. They instantly know that she is their mate. To hedge her bets in case the hacker can't completely wipe her existence off, she makes a deal with a demon named Pan, who is increasingly interested and becomes obsessed with Rosie. And then we have Gavin, the vampire husband. He's not happy that his wife's dead, and when he finds out that she may be alive, he's even less happy and goes on the hunt to find her. This is wrapped up in Kayla Rain and Meg's Ann's classic, like, wild, bonkers, paranormal why choose romance, and the 6 of them have to stop the end of the world. Next one's not a paranormal romance, but a paranormal book that I love, and E is for European Travels for the Monstrous Gentlewoman by Theodora Goss. This is the 2nd book in the extraordinary adventures of the Athena Club. We have a beautiful retelling of Gothic tales. Think of it as like Once Upon a Time, but with Gothic fiction. And we're following a group of girls who all happen to be the daughters of Gothic literature's infamous madmen. We have Mary Jekyll, Diana Hyde, Justine Frankenstein, Catherine Moreau, and Beatrice Rappaccini. We first start off the series with Mary, who has lost both her mother and father and is struggling to keep her estate going. She is on the hunt for Mr. Hyde, who she believes is the person who murdered her father, and through a investigation ends up finding not Mr. Hyde, but his daughter Diana Hyde. As they're going along, they collect the other girls and they get roped up in with Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson trying to solve the Whitechapel murders, and it is wonderful. I love the way that she's woven in all these stories, and this series is told in a very unique way in that the girls are needing to make money, so Mary becomes the receptionist for Sherlock Holmes. Beatrice is really great with plants, so she's, selling flowers. Justine's a painter, and Catherine's a writer. So these books are presented as if they are like the manuscript of their adventures, and throughout we get interjections and commentary from the girls questioning Catherine's recollection and trying to make her, not dramatize everything. So highly recommend this series. This one is a chunker, but I just flew through it, and it's fun to see as we go on how many other Gothic characters get added into it. It's very much a love letter to Gothic fiction, and I adore it. F is for Fractured Fates by Hannah Hayes. This is a new love of mine. This is the first book in her Arrowheart Academy series. We're following a world with witches or magic users, and our girl Ree has been basically living in hiding her entire life. Her mother has died, her aunt has taken her under her protection and has told her never to use her magic. She is now orphaned as her aunt has since passed and living in this dilapidated little farm with an adorable pet pig named Pip when the enforcer for the magic people comes calling, and she is dragged back kicking and screaming into the academy. We find out that she has a very important power that powerful people will want to exploit. From this point, life gets complicated from Ree. She has a feelings for the enforcer, the man in black who's come and get her, and his friend Professor Stone, who helps escort her back to the school. 2 of the jocks on the sports team treat her like crap as well, and we have a psychopath mercenary for a bikie gang who has been hired to kill her. It is a bit wild. It has an academy setting. Apparently I only like a bully romance when we've got paranormal and dark academia vibes to it. It was a lot of fun. The whole 5-book series I read in like 3 days and would highly recommend. G is for Grim and Bear It by Juliet Cross. This is the 6th and final book in her Stay a Spell series. We are following the Savoy sisters, who are witches in New Orleans. In this world we have witches, vampires, werewolves and Grimm, and they are trying to find their place in the world. The series starts off with one of the sisters who is a curse breaker helping a cursed werewolf who has been unable to shift, and so his wolf side is becoming its own separate entity inside his mind. And we're now at the final sister, Clara, who is just the embodiment of sunshine, and she finally is able to get her happily ever after with the moody Grimm, who she has had her eyes on since book 1. I love the family vibes in here, the small town cozy vibes, and there is a lot happening in the supernatural world that they are trying to work towards. Everyone kind of has their own interest at heart and wants to keep control of their power, and the sisters are trying to change the werewolves' image of being these mindless, violent machines and help them get a say on the Supernatural Council. H is for Her Feral Beast by E.P. Barley. This is the first full-length novel in Her Vicious Beast series, and if you love a bonkers, dark, why choose romance moment, this is definitely one for you. We are following Aurelia, who is a disappointment to her father, who is the Cobra King, and she has essentially been banished. In this world, when you turn 13, your Animalia or your shifted side presents, and you also can go to the Oracle and find out who your mates are. When the Oracle declares that Aurelia has 5 mates from the 5 different Animus orders, it is a dead giveaway that her Animus is not what they think it is. So she has been told to keep it a secret and keep out of the way. She is an incredible healer, so she does work to help her dad, who is like part council member, part mafia boss, to heal any of his underground fighters. She is working her way towards going to uni, basically starting up a new life and seeing this crazy world behind. She's been given one last job to go to a old, and by old I mean old man, eagle and heal some of his prisoners, who once she gets there happens to be 3 of the 5 of her deadly mates. In quick succession, she is married to the old eagle, the house burns down, she's charged with arson and is on the run, and these mates have been released from their prison on the orders of her father to bring her back kicking and screaming. And she finds sanctuary in the Animus Academy, which is like a reform prison school. She thinks she's safe until the 3 mates also enroll, and it is wild, dark, every shifter it being a hero as possible. You know, we've got koala shifters, bear shifters, lions, tigers, wolves, sharks, you name it, there's a shifter for it. These are massive books. I read like 3 of them in like 3 days. Couldn't get enough. I is for In Her Own Right by Ronan Wilder. This is the first book in her Fakari Island shifters. We are following this indigenous island people who also happen to be werewolves. No one really knows about that on the outside world. They are considered quite insular. They open up for tourists on one of their islands, but they keep a lot of their culture separate. So the only way to become a Fakari pack elder is to defeat your biggest fear at the top of the cliffs or die trying. Emerson hasn't shifted in years, but Kieran is there to keep her safe so she doesn't have to. This is like a friends to lovers romance, and it is very sweet. Kieran is working towards becoming a pack elder. They've already got their own pack formed, and they need at least 2 to 3 members to go through the rites so they can buy their own property on the island and start living their own life. For decades, the pair of them have been inseparable, sleeping next to each other every night as friends. So Kieran at the start of the book is casually seeing other people, but always comes back to Emerson. With Emerson's heat around the corner, ignoring her feelings for Kieran is getting harder to ignore, and she wants to stay by him until the night of the rites. And it was just beautiful. I love this small town island culture. It was really fascinating to see. It was a fantastic start to a new series. J is for Just One Bite by S.L. Coakley. Olivia and her sisters are humans and are given the opportunity to attend Doloxia University, which is like an Ivy League institution for the elite humans, vampires, and werewolves. However, the only security or guaranteed security humans have at the university is to join the donor program. However, Olivia and her sisters, after seeing the health issues that her mother had from being in the donor program, which led to her early death, have decided not to join. Olivia is very excited, has been pushing to attend the university. She's a ballerina and wants nothing more than to join the university's company, as it could be a fast track to get an audition to the most prestigious international ballet company. Nothing will deter her from her goal, even if her sweet blood puts a target on her back. Enter Parker Owens, who is the school heartthrob, hybrid vampire, werewolf, and team captain of Rage, which is this like supernatural hockey on steroids. And he steps in to help, and the solution is going to be simple. His pack won't extend help unless she is mated to him, so they are going to be fake mates. But the more time they spend in close proximity, the more the line starts to blur and cue the drama. This gave me all like the warm fuzzy feelings I had of a new adult college romance, such as like the Elle Kennedy off-campus series, but added in vampires and werewolves and lots of drama. I completely ate this up. Fake mates was something I didn't think I needed in my life, but this was done excellently. Parker has this whole golden retriever but a possessive psychopath thing, which I absolutely love. K is for Kiss of Snow. As promised, here is the second Nalini Singh book, and this is the 10th book in the Psy Changeling series and happens to be my favorite book. I love Hawk Snow, who is the alpha wolf of the Snow Dancer pack. In this world, we have 3 races. We've got the Changelings, who are shifter type people who are seen as impulsive and primitive as they rely heavily on their emotions. They are ruthless and brutal when seeking justice and revenge for any perceived wrongdoings. We have our humans, and then we have the Psy, who are the psychic beings. They can do things from teleport, telekinesis, predict the future, and they all have to live on this thing called the Psy nets. The Psy run on like a psychic feedback loop. Many years earlier, this is set in like a future time, but many years earlier in the 20th century, due to the increasing mental health crisis that was happening with the Psy, who have some unreliable and very powerful powers, they decided that they were going to implement the Silence Protocol, which meant that they would train out emotions in their young. So the Psy now are seen as sociopaths. They are cold and motionless and ruthless in their own way. Instead of forests, their battlefield is a boardroom. In the first book, we are following Sasha Duncan. She is registered as a high, powerful Psy, but no one really knows what her power is, and she is constantly having small breaches of silence as she feels empathy and emotions and doesn't know what's going on. She works on a business proposal with the neighboring leopard pack. So her mother, Nikita, is one of the Psy counselors, and they're looking to expand their construction business by offering housing for both Psy and humans. It's a purely logical decision to help diversify their revenue, and they hire the Dark River leopard pack, who are in the area, to consult on the project. And from there, we find out more about the secret underworld of the Psy and the Silence, and the Changelings, who normally want nothing to do with the Psy, take up this offer because there has been a serial killer killing changeling women, and all signs point to it being a Psy. Each book follows a different couple. This is the 10th book, and we're following our grumpy wolf shifter. This series is incredible. Yes, it's 20 plus books long, but it is worth every second of it. One of my all-time favorite series. L is for The Lost and the Chosen by Ivy Asher. This is another kind of magic wielder story, and we're following Vinna, who woke up one day with all these really cool markings and magical abilities to summon weapons, and she has no idea what the hell is going on. She has been kicked out of her foster mother's house for causing trouble, and at this stage is working as an underground fighter to get bills, and she will hunt monsters that go bump in the night. While she's on a particular vampire hunt, she runs into a group of people who happen to be warlocks, and one of them ends up being her uncle. So she is taken back to this community and is now thrust into a world that she doesn't know and rules that she's not interested in. In this community, there are more men than women, so a woman having multiple husbands isn't questioned, and she doesn't like the fact that the women here are seen to be protected and stay at the home and all that jazz. She comes across her own mates and forges her own path as she's wont to do. I really liked this one. Ivy Asher does put a lot of humor in here, and I enjoyed the fact that this wasn't a bully romance in a white shoe setup. The boys do their best to woo Venner. Venner is very much like, I don't need you. I am powerful and strong enough on my own, and I don't need my life complicated by you, and they do their best to woo her, which is fantastic. All 4 books in this series are out and the spin-off series has started. The plot does thicken as we go along, and we've got a lot of interspecies supernatural politics, which is a lot of fun. M is for Moon Called by Patricia Briggs, and this is one of the OG paranormal romances of the early 2000s, and I love it. We're following Mercy Thompson, who is a coyote shifter. In this world, the werewolves themselves have just decided to go public and let humans know of their existence after they saw how the Fae have been treated by being forcibly outed. So one of the alpha wolves ends up moving in next door, kind of to keep an eye on her, and she's just a girl who's a mechanic trying to live her life, and somehow manages to find herself in the middle of all the drama, be it vampire, werewolf, or fae. These are so much fun. There is a romance, but in true like early 2000s paranormal where we follow the same couple, it doesn't really kick off until later, but it is such a fun time. I really love the world that Patricia Briggs has constructed, and she has a spin-off series called Alpha and Omega, which is also fantastic. So if you're in the mood for like some classic paranormal, I would highly recommend this one. N is for Nightshade by Kerry Lake, and I am struggling of what to tell you about this book because I spent the first 80% of this book not knowing what the hell is going on. We're following kind of 2 timelines. There is what feels like this otherworldly timeline that feels very like fantasy, very like folklore, and then we're following a modern day where a girl is trying to figure out what has happened to her father. He was an academic and seems to have gone missing, and he called these people messengers. They're beings that walked among them, and somewhere in this dark, godless city there shined a faint sliver of hope, but only if she looked for the signs. So her father was kind of seen as this madman as he's seeing things that don't exist. But she spent her whole life investigating this and has found unsettling vestiges of inquiry, the evidence of another world shrouded by the obscure. And this world ends up being like a purgatory of some kind where depravity hides in the shadows, and girls like her are delicious bites of temptation. Others call it Nightshade. When she tumbles into Nightshade, she ends up in this decaying cliffside cathedral where she meets Jericho Van Crox, who is the embodiment of everything she's feared, a raven-winged harbinger who wears intrigue like a warm black cloak. So we have that storyline with her, and then we have another storyline which appears to be a younger Jericho, and as I said, I spent about 80% of this book not knowing what the hell was going on. You do get answers in the second book, but it's kind of this lusciously gothic, and if you're okay, suspend your disbelief and just go with the flow, I think you would really enjoy it. O is for One Little Nightmare by Darling Dawn. This book has like a Greek myth twist, but really does give me like Sucker Punch vibes, as we're following a paranoid schizophrenia who has what feels like a dark entity living within him. Like with Nightshade, this does read a bit like a fever dream, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and most of our perspective is actually told from Brooks, our male main character, as he's trying to figure out what the hell is going on. We also have a broken siren who would give anything to end her curse, a mystery girl with traumas of her past written on her body. Pandora's box has been opened, and to reclaim their identities, they will have to determine what is real, what is fantasy, and face the darkness within. It was so much fun. It ended on a massive cliffhanger. I still cannot believe I haven't gone into the second book yet, but if you're looking for Greek myth, Sucker Punch vibes, this is definitely one for you. P is for The Poisoner by Ivy Ophelia. This is a very dark vampire romance, which I particularly love. I really enjoy her take on the vampires in here. They give more serpent vibes than I've ever seen before. So we are following Alina, who is living in Victorian London, and she is a botanist. She runs like apothecary, but she's also a hobbyist poisoner. Women of the city come and seek her assistance to get rid of the dangerous men in their lives. And she'll often test her potions at nearby brothels. And this is kind of like her own twisted revenge on something that has happened to her. When she targets a seated playboy, Silas Forbes, she's very surprised to find him in the apothecary alive and well the following week, and discovers that humans are really the least of her problems. And since poisoning Silas, he now has a sick obsession with her and has started stalking her. He doesn't mind hurting her, but as long as no one else touches her, he is fine with that. And as their unlikely association sparks gossip in London society among the affluent people, their mysterious bond deepens, a chilling truth emerges. Concealed identities, lurking foes, and a question as plentiful as a hydra's heads brew within this hauntingly gothic tale. And I love the deal they make. Silas lets her study him. She is a scientist at heart and is into poisons, and vampires do produce a kind of poison, but in return she has to feed him. He is the first psychopath golden retriever I have read and completely love him. It's just recently got picked up, so it will be re-released. I'll put the date of re-release. This one was just so fantastic, so luscious, so gothic, and a very interesting take on vampires. It's been a while since I've read a really dark take on vampires, and I loved it. Q is for Queen of Darkness by Devon Sinclair. In this, we're following Aurel, who has been taken by the King of Tartarus because of her affinity with the darkness. She has been raised as an assassin alongside her adoptive sister Nessa to help Hel win the war against the heavens. Aurel has one more assignment to prove her worth. She is thrown out of Hell with limited instructions, no weapons, no clothes. She's just like, you have one more assignment, off you go. She must find the High Trinity, who are the three archangels who rule heaven, seduce them, and then kill them. Only then will she be able to take her title. She's undertaken countless missions as an assassin, so this won't be any different, right? Any mistake will cost Aurelia's life. And this was the first non-Omegaverse I read by Devon Sinclair. It is quite dark at times. We have a why choose moment, and I really enjoyed her take on heaven and hell, angels and demons. It was high stakes, cliffhanger endings, but the trilogy is all completed, and I had a really fun time with this. R is for Run Riot by Colette Rhodes. Speaking of books that have a angels and demons twist, we have Run Riot, which is the first book of the State of Grace series. This also does have a Greek myth twist to it. So we are following Grace, who is an Agoth's woman. Agoths have been gifted to humanity by the goddess Gaia and are supposed to give gifts to help brighten their day and lead them on the path of the righteousness. Things like giving them health and intelligence, things like that. Grace's gift in particular is that she can bestow luck. However, anytime she gives a human luck, bad luck comes her way, and I just love that concept. Agos women are also supposed to, by the time they're 25, have found their 4 bonded mates. So not only does Grace have a non-sexy gift, she also has found none of her bonds, and her family consider her a disgrace, and she is about to be shipped off into a remote location on the guise of mission work so that she can be an embarrassment from society at a distance. In a moment of weakness, Grace puts out a prayer to the goddess Nyx, who happens to answer, and Nyx's children are demons, and they are the beings that lure the humans into wrongdoing. They are violence and sex and depressive thoughts, that kind of thing. We slowly see that maybe Nyx isn't the bad guy that everyone thinks she is, and maybe Gaia and the Agos community aren't doing as charitable work as they should be doing, and Grace and her bonded end up trying to break the current societal structure to ensure that the world is a better place for everyone, and it was so good. S is for Sing Sweet Nightingale by Rebecca Rennick. You know me, I don't normally love a small town romance unless we've got monsters involved. And we're following Lottie Pickle. She is known to the world as Alexandra. She is the most popular glittering pop star, but behind the limelight, things aren't what they seem. Her mum is her manager and has absolute financial and image control over Lottie. She can't breathe, and her mother is not about to relinquish that control. So feeling like she can't breathe or can't move, with the help of her bodyguard, she ends up running away to this small quiet town in Montana called Snowberry. She kind of sparks a little bit of interest there because what Lottie doesn't know is that Smallberry is a monster town, and she's just hoping to blend in and enjoy her time out of the limelight. Her sanctuary is interrupted when the town's mayor, and unbeknownst the owner of the cabin she's hired, but there is more to the tall, dark, handsome Hunter Evans than just being the town mayor. He is a shifter and is also supposedly supposed to be her mate. They're kind of caught between this unspoken rule that the monsters or the supernatural community have not to show their true selves towards humans, and also the fact that they are fated mates. To make things worse, the world is crying out to what happened to Lottie. Her mother is on a rampage, paparazzi are on the hunt, and also blackmailing mob boss Elf wants the town of Snowberry for himself. So these two cannot catch a break. But I loved it so much. There is one more book in this series, and I loved the small town. I loved all the supernatural creatures. Loved this romance. It was just a fun, cozy time. Despite those high stakes, the essence of it is cozy romance. T is for Tentacles and Triathlons by Ashley Bennett. We are staying in our cozy monster romance, and this is the second book in her Leviathan Fitness series. And in this one, we are following the Parks Department supervisor, Reese Rollins. He's decided to sign up for a triathlon. I believe he is the brother of the female main character in the first book, and he has not great feelings towards monsters. I would say he is definitely has some prejudice towards them. So yes, he decides to sign up to this triathlon. There are two things holding him back. One, it's his crap swimming skills. I believe the swim is the first part of the triathlon, so if he butchers that, he has really limited hope of catching up. And two is his fear of monsters. So at the urging of his sister's Wolfen mate, Reese does join Leviathan Fitness, which is the gym he owns, and trains in the Olympics-sized swimming pool to get his swimming skills up. After running into Reese at the pool, Cyrus, who is a kraken, offers to help Reese get ready to win the race. And new feelings arise from both Reese. He has an attraction to Cyrus, has got to work through his prejudice towards them, and Cyrus is excited but also terrified of trying to get close to someone who doesn't really know what they want. And yes, as they're working together in close proximity, feelings arise, and the only question is, can these two hold on to their newfound love despite their differences? And it was really sweet. Cyrus is also an artist by trade, and I just loved this one. Again, does deal with some heavy topics. It was a really fun, sweet time. U is for Unbroken Bonds by Jay Bree. This is the sixth and final book in the Bonds That Tie series, and in this we're following a group of supernatural type X-Men people who live in their own communities. Ollie is on the run after her parents were killed in a targeted attack. She does know the names of her bonds through a blood test, but instead of running into their arms to safety, she's worried that someone is after her for her unique ability, so goes on the run. Her bonds, obviously not having spoken to her or getting that justification, are quite pissed, and once they find her, they hunt her down and bring her back to their town and into their vicinity, and are willing to do whatever it takes to inflict as much pain on her that she's inflicted on them. We have an academic setting at the start. This gets so wild, like where we start at the start of the series to where we get to here is crazy. We find out more about their powers and why they're drawn together as bonded people. The bonds, Atlas, Gabe, North, Nox, and Griffin really do have to figure out how to work together, especially when Atlas's family is from a rival family to North and Nox Draven. And I ate this up. Actually, I think I'm in need of doing a reread because this is one of my favorite Why Choose Bonkers paranormal romance series. V is for Vicious Bonds by Casey Keene. This is the third book in her Saints Academy series. No one does an Academy series quite like Casey Keene. And this one we are following a world which has 5 supernatural beings. We've got vampires, gods, angels, demons, and werewolves. And in this world, once you reach 21 or something, early 20s, you are supposed to go to this goblet and present yourself, and if by chance the goblet says that you are magical, you get sent to Saints Academy. Most people in the human world do it as they're required to, it's forced, but no one ever believes they're going to head off to the rich part of the world. There is definitely a wage and, you know, income discrepancy between them. Rhea is not having the best time. The guy she was dating and kind of liked has been caught cheating on her, and she decides to fuck up his car, which is just iconic. She ends up being roped into this test, finds out that she is someone of magic ability, and gets spirited away to the Saints Academy. From there, she gets sent to the top ranking house and sparks interest in the reigning boys of the group, Xander, Andos, Zen, and Chaos. And it is them, Rhea, really just trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, finding allies, finding out her abilities, and the boys learning to love her and support her, and things get real. With Rhea's introduction into the society, we find out that Zeus and the story he's been telling about Nyx and his tale that he's woven might not be true, and Nyx might be tired of waiting for him to come clean. And it was fantastic. W is for A Wolf in the Garden by Allegra Hall. This is hands down one of my favorite paranormal romances. It is set in a small town, which I already mentioned is not something I normally like, but it's set in a small town on the southern island of New Zealand, and I really need more paranormal romances set outside of the US. We are following Ellie, who is a florist and landscape designer by trade, and she had a swoony summer romance with this man here, Ben Livingston, who is family's wealthy Americans and used to summer in New Zealand. You know, she was a young girl and he said all the sweet things and thought that, you know, they would be together forever and ever, and then he never came back. So she is just soldiering on and getting on with her life, starting her own business. Things did take a turn when the unveiling happened. So in this world, there's the idea that there was a veil over everything that would hide the supernatural, but one morning the veil was lifted, and that could be quite confronting for people who knew that they were supernatural creatures. We've got everything in here from gargoyles, werewolves, vampires, witches, dragon shifters. But for someone like Ellie, who woke up one day with pointed elf ears with no understanding that she had any supernatural or magical ability in her life, that's quite hard to rectify with. And it's been 5 years and she's kept quiet about it, that she feels like she can't now talk to people about it, that she's feeling okay with it because it might hurt her friends and family's feelings that she kept this a secret for so long. So that's happened. She is working on her business and there is a big garden show when unexpectedly she bumps into Van Livingston, who doesn't look quite like what she remembered, and we find out that he is both shifter wolf and werewolf, and he has reasons why he wasn't able to come back to Ellie, but his circumstances have changed. He is now broken away from his father's pack and is going to set up his own pack, and the first thing he needs to do is find his mate Ellie, and it was so good. I love the complexity of this world with the unveiling. I loved getting a second chance fated mates romance. I didn't know I needed that until now, and I will read everything in this series because, again, another chunky book, but I devoured it in a day. Now we come to the books that I haven't yet read but are high on my TBR, and X is for Inextricably Tied. Is anyone surprised that X is the one that I couldn't find a title for? But this is by Avita Weiss. This is an MMF romance. Harbinger is reckless. It makes sense that she keeps the world at arm's length. No one to answer to, no one to lose, no one to touch the banshee skin and become connected to forever. In a system that works, even if it means keeping her partner Flint from getting closer to her. Flint is restrained. As the Harbinger's bodyguard, he has to be, until pulling her behind his gargoyle armor accidentally links them. So I love the fact that we have a banshee and a gargoyle, two new supernatural beings to enter the chat, and Flint is no longer the only one connected to her. Agony is unlike anything they've ever seen. A night terror is extracted from a serial killer. Agony doesn't care who he hurts, and Flint and Harbinger look like the perfect targets. Forced together by circumstance, the three search for the remains of the murder victims and try to keep from killing each other in the process. But as the mystery comes into focus, lines between the three begin to blur. What started as a begrudging partnership becomes intertwined as their bodies in the dark. The bond between Flint and Harbinger is fraying, but Agony isn't the only one to blame. When Flint and Harbinger have painful histories they've spent their whole lives running from, every step towards uncovering the truth proves that the only way to untangle these complicated webs is to unravel them and each other. I've read Avita Weiss before and I love her monsters. It's sexy, it's a bit dark, and this one sounds phenomenal. Y is for Yearning for Her by Tiffany Robert. This features a wicked incubus and a curvy female human and one night of passion that it changes everything. I have read one Tiffany Roberts and I really need to read more because they are a fantastic husband and wife writing duo. Willow Crowley's world comes crashing down when she discovers her boyfriend has been seeing other women. The dream she held for a life with him is shattered in an instant, leaving her alone with nothing except for heartbreak. She vows to never open herself up to hurt again until a seductive otherworldly stranger with white hair, piercings and ice blue eyes promises her a single night of pleasure, no strings attached. But that night isn't nearly enough for him. He wants more than she's ready to give. How can she trust him not to break her heart when he isn't even human? And that sounds excellent. Love the idea of an incubus. And last but not least, we have Zed. And Zed is for Zero Fox Given by Rhea Fox. I love this cover. We have a wheelchair user, we have a fox shifter monster being, and I want that. It's a cozy monster romance with equal parts sugar and spice and a guaranteed HEA, which we love. So we've got finding out your childhood sweetheart is alive after thinking he was dead for most of your life is a roller coaster of emotions for savvy marketing expert Maddie. And Schrodinger's fox, he is still the most dashing guy she's ever seen. Maddie and her dad left her childhood Scottish town 15 years ago. He's also Scottish. Interesting. It's personal this time. Lone Fox Distillery is owned by Fitz, her first love. Maddie is about to turn the page once more. Inheriting the family distillery and restoring it to its past glory is Fitz's only goal. But after spending a lot of money on the business, it's still not making enough cash and he's in a really tough spot. Luckily, Betaworth CEO Dex Murphy has the perfect woman for the job. The moment Fitzgerald lays eyes on her, he knows it's her childhood bestie who moved away and never replied to any of his letters. But help has come too late. Fitz has to borrow more money from his grandfather, but there's a catch. If his wedding is the first at the distillery, he gets the loan. He reluctantly agrees when Maddie offers to play his wife for a year. They embark on a journey that will push their hearts to the limit. Can Maddie and Fitz leave the past behind and create a fresh new start for the distillery and themselves? Wow, we have fake wedding, Scottish hero, possibly heroine, disability rep from the cover, foxes. I don't know what else more I want. Also, like, this whole second chance, best friends to enemies to lovers. That sounds incredible, and it's criminal that I haven't picked it up sooner. So there you go. There is my A to Z recommendations for all things paranormal, from cozy monster romances to twists on gothic classics, OG paranormal romance staples, and things that are deliciously dark. Comment down below and let me know what your favorite paranormal read is. I can always add more to my TBR, or you can leave me your paranormal emoji of your choice. If you'd like to see more content from me, please like and subscribe. I'll be posting new videos every Sunday or thereabouts. Linked in the description box below will be all these books, reviews if I have them, and links to my social media channels if you'd like to talk to me or follow me on any other corner of the internet. Anyway, that's all from me today, guys. I hope you're doing all kinds of well, and I'll speak to you soon. See ya!